Lizzie Birdsworth, the mother of Wentworth, who went out of her way to look after all of the women. A character with a nasty habit that kept popping up from time to time. The character who you definitely would love to share a unit with and have a cuppa. A character who went through so much in 7 seasons before coming to a tragic end. Welcome back to Wentworth Life and welcome back to another ranking video, a Lizzie Birdsworth special. Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life, the YouTube channel that talks all things Wentworth. Now, if you are new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button for all future updates. Okay then, well, in today's video, I am going to be doing a full ranking video on Liz Birdsworth, another favourite character of mine with lots to cover. So get yourselves comfy and let's jump straight in. Okay then, so starting this one off today with 5 Liz Birdsworth moments. At number 5, it is Liz sticks up for Boomer. So this happens in season 7, and this is when Boomer's mum is really horrible to her. Like, I mean, she's horrible to her the whole time she's in the show, but this is like, you know, next level. And this is when, you know, Boomer's mum, she takes her shoe off, or a slipper, whatever the fuck she's wearing, and she starts hitting Boomer over the head over and over again, like proper going at it. And then Liz throws Boomer's mum onto the ground, and she tells her, you know, to back off, and that if she hurts Boomer again, then she will hurt her. And then all the women start like clapping at Liz. I just love this moment. It's also, you know, Liz, you know, she had the dementia at this stage quite badly in season 7, so this was a brilliant moment for me. And number 4, and it is Liz saves Sophie. So this is the moment when Liz is on the outside. She's followed Sophie to the bar. Sophie's got herself into trouble with a guy who's trying to force himself on her, and then Liz like grabs him and throws him to the ground. She then like takes a very drunk Sophie to a taxi and puts her in there, and then it's at that very moment when Sophie looks up at Liz. She's like, "Mum, it's Mum," and Liz is like, you know, she doesn't know what to say, bless him. And then the car drives off, and I just think it's such a really lush but also a very sad moment, because you can see that, you know, Sophie really wants to speak to her, but the car's driving off, and then Liz is like, Soph, and I'm just like, oh my god, my heart is literally breaking. Okay, at number 3, Liz mistakes Boomer for Sophie. Now, I just found this a really cute moment. Just when Liz, in the middle of the night, she, you know, goes over to Boomer's cell and she's like, Soph, and then she tries to wake her up, but it's not Sophie, it's Boomer. Now, if you guys remember, Sophie was in Wentworth during season 3, so I don't know whether if, you know, this was Liz thinking that she was back in those days, or if she was thinking of when Soph was a little girl on the outside. It's such a cute yet sad moment, but I just love how Boomer she didn't go mad. So, like, you know, you can imagine waking Boomer up, you know, in the middle of the night. You can imagine Boomer would not be impressed, but Boomer, she's actually really gentle with Liz, and yeah, I love this little moment. At number 2, Liz stands up for herself, which is quite rare, but this is when Liz is in the halfway house on the outside, and this is just after actually the moment where she saves Sophie. And when she's going back to her room, that disgusting looking man who looks like he hasn't like literally had a shower for about 3 months, he like, you know, stops Liz, and like he's like, oh, you missed curfew, that's gonna cost you. And this man is really disgusting. He makes me feel rather ill. Liz then pulls out a knife, and, you know, this man shits himself, and she's like, you know, if you come anywhere near me again, I'm gonna cut off your balls. He then like runs up the stairs, and then Liz shouts out, have a shower. And then as Liz is like opening her door, she's got this like, you know, like a smug grin on her face, and I'm just like, yes, Liz, you go, girl. At number 1, Liz learns the tango. Oh, this is such a sweet moment, and it's quite often when I've talked about any Liz moments, I do tend to like forget about this one, but obviously I rewatched the whole of Wentworth not so long ago, so it's still fresh in my memory, and I just had to stick it on the list because poor Boomer, she goes on asking like the whole prison, do you know how to tango? And then it turns out that Jake Stewart is the one who knows how to tango, so Boomer manages to get him to teach Liz, and then Vera sees them dancing in the middle of the night, and it's such a fantastic moment, and you actually see Liz smiling, which was quite a rarity during the later seasons. Okay, 5 Liz Birdsworth quotes. Coming in at number 5. Who cares if she does have a dick? It could come in quite handy. Okay, so before we start, Liz had some fantastic quotes, and I could actually make like a whole video just on Lizzie quotes. But this one is actually one where if you're not concentrating, you may not hear it. It happens in season 2, and I think it's season 2, episode 4, when Maxine has first arrived, and all the women are taking bets on whether if Maxine still has a dick or not. And while they're in the garden project, even Miss Miles is there, and you hear Liz in the background saying, who cares if she does have a dick, it could come in quite handy. And then the camera pans over to Frankie, who's like pointing at Liz and like doing like a funny face, and I just absolutely love it. It always catches, if you don't like honestly watch it properly, or you're just like, I don't know, say you're like in and out of the room or you're playing on your mobile phone, you can actually miss this moment, but it does happen in that episode. I flipping love it. And number 4, Sonia's dead, you fat cow. I believe this one happens in season 6, and this is when Boomer has found out that Liz has got dementia, and she kind of like does a little test. And I think it's like Boomer just says to Liz, you know, Sonia knows you're witness X, and this is when Liz delivers the line, Sonia's dead, you fat cow. And yeah, it just caught me off guard, and I was just like, whoa, Liz. I bet she wouldn't have said that back in season 2 and season 3 when Boomer was coming for her. And number 3, I'd love a good fuck. Once again, this happens in season 7, and I think it's when the women are trying to help Liz with a bucket list, and I think Liz is like about to eat a sausage in the canteen, and she just says, I'd love a good fuck, and oh, it makes me burst out laughing. In fact, the whole storyline where the women are trying to get like a man to come in and have sex with Liz, there are some fantastic quotes and one-liners that come from Lizzie. There's like a really belter of one, I can't remember off the top of my head, I'd have to go back and rewatch, but it's one about like how much it's gonna cost, and Liz goes on a proper tangent. So yeah, flippin' love it. At number 2, whatever you do, don't end up in the slot, because then I'll be top dog and we'll be really fucked. Now, I'm struggling to find when this quote happened. I know it happened because I flippin' love this quote, but I cannot remember what season. I tried going back and going through, and I couldn't find this scene, but I know it happens. If you know what you know which episode this happens in, let me know in the comments box below, because I know it definitely happens. Now, I don't know if Liz is saying it to Boomer, Maxine, or CRAIGz. I cannot remember, but I know it happens, and it just makes me laugh every single time. At number 1, it's a steak knife, love. What's it doing here? Waiting for a steak. An absolute classic. I think this is one that always pops up in everyone's heads when they think of any Liz Birdsworth quotes. And it's in season 2 during the finale episode, and I think that what makes this quote so memorable is how casual Liz is, you know, when she says, waiting for a steak. Oh god, I don't know if the writers meant to make that as funny as it was, but yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Okay, so top 3 Liz Birdsworth episodes, or episodes that, you know, had big Liz storylines. So, at number 3, The Things We Do, Season 1, Episode 4. Of course this was always going to make the list, because in Season 1, each episode was dedicated to a character's background, and this episode was all about Liz, and this is where we learn why Liz was in prison. We learn that she had a drink problem, and it flared up once again during the speech, and she got drunk, and she made a fool of Erica and everyone in the whole prison, and yeah, so this is where we get to learn, the ins and outs of Liz Birdsworth. At number 2, The Edge, Season 6, Episode 7. A fantastic episode, probably one of my all-time favourites of Season 6. And it's when, Sonia and Liz's final battle commences. But before we get to the moment where they end up on the roof, there are some brilliant moments before then. Like when Sonia gets bashed by Spike and then she pretends to lose her memory. And then there's that scene in the hospital where, Liz is chatting with Sonia and they have that, exchange of words, and it's just so brilliant, and it shows how evil Sonia really, really is. But then Liz, she has a little recording that the police have just been listening to, which really, really annoys Sonia. Sonia totally loses her shit, and of course they end up on the roof with a final battle, and yeah, brilliant episode. At number 1, Under Siege Part 2, Season 7, Episode 10. Okay, so this was a jam-packed full episode, and it wasn't just about Liz. This was obviously about the siege, but Liz plays a massive part, and she ends up having the stroke, locked-in syndrome, and of course we've got the death of Liz when Boomer helps her to die. It is one of the saddest moments ever on Wentworth, and yeah, it's just an episode that we're never ever going to forget. This episode, put it that way. Okay, 3 Liz Birdsworth storylines that I wish had happened. Now at number 3, this is actually a storyline that I wish had never happened, and that is Liz was never diagnosed as having dementia. It's, obviously we can all say this in hindsight, but I think it's a shame. I know we got some fantastic moments from Liz during the dementia storyline, and Celia played that storyline so well, but, I loved Liz, and I wish that she was never diagnosed, or if she was diagnosed, I wish she was diagnosed a little bit later, just so that we could have had her around for a bit more. But yeah, I suppose, this is just a bit of a hopeful thinking for me. At number 2, Liz interacting with Lou Kelly. So I would have loved to have seen Liz in Season 8, Part 1 and Part 2, interacting with Lou Kelly, because Lou says that Liz was like a mum to her when she returned in Season 8, Episode 1. So it would have been interesting to see the dynamics between these two. Maybe Liz could have been one of those very few characters who Lou could have gone to and could have listened to. Like, for example, I remember when Lou was going to Mari for chats, after Reb's death. How different could it have been if Liz had been around? Interesting. At number 1, I wish Liz had found love, and not with Don Kaplan. I wish she'd found genuine love. Maybe we could have brought in a nice officer, not too old, not too young, somebody around Liz's age, and they could have fallen in love and got married, and Liz could have had a happy ending. Oh god. Anyway, Liz Birdsworth, sad, funny moments. Okay, at number 3, Liz showers fully clothed. Now this is a moment that actually makes me laugh as the scene begins, and then it makes me cry because Liz breaks down. Now, when she first goes in the shower and she realises that, oh shit, she's fully clothed, she bursts out laughing, but she laughs in a very childlike way, and it's so kind of cute and nice for a very, very quick moment, and then she breaks down crying, and then you break down crying along with her. So this is a bit of a sad / funny moment for me. At number 2, Liz tries to kill herself. So this happens in Season 6 when Mari gives Liz a lethal dose of heroin, and Liz is about to do it. She's even written notes to her children, and I find this scene so horrible. I remember when I first saw it, I honestly thought she was about to die, and I thought, Liz's journey cannot end like this. Luckily, Kaz came in and stopped her from doing it, but it always makes me cry just because she was willing to do it. She was going to do it. Bless Liz. And number 1, Lizzie's death. Oh my goodness gracious me, we're back onto this one. But it is the saddest moment ever that happens in Liz's journey, but also in the whole show. It is literally up there, as I would struggle to put this one and B's death like at number 1 and number 2. I don't know who would top number 1. Very, very, very difficult one, but it is a moment that made the whole world cry. Okay, Liz Birdsworth version of fuck, marry and kill. So I reckon she would like to marry Don Kaplan. Now I know Don was awful to her, but let's say he wasn't. Liz loved Don, so the fact that she actually did love him, I reckon she would like to marry him. Who do I think she would like to fuck? Well, you know, she's been in prison a very long time, so I reckon she's going to want to fuck the hottest guard in Wentworth, and that is Will Jackson. Don't blame you, Liz. You go, girl. You enjoy yourself. And who do I think she's going to kill? Sonia Stevens. I mean, Liz even tried to do it when she poisoned her with liquid nicotine, so bit of an obvious one, because Liz isn't really a nasty person. It's just Sonia did push Liz that, you know, a little bit too far, so Sonia definitely. Okay, quick question here now. What if Liz hadn't have died? Okay, so this is actually a difficult one to answer, because if Liz didn't die at the end of season 7, then there was already nothing really much left for Liz because she was in locked-in syndrome. Even if Liz didn't have the stroke, she still would have dementia. And there is only one horrible end to that storyline. Now, I do understand that the director or the producers, they did ask Celia Island, who plays Liz, if she wanted to stay on Wentworth for the final 2 seasons. They had already filmed the death scene at the end of season 7, but the option was given to her for them to scrap the death scene so Liz can stay on the show for the final 2 seasons, and Celia did turn it down as she felt that there wasn't much more for Liz because she had the dementia, so they kept Liz's death scene in, which I think was the right call in my opinion. But let's just say Liz had never got dementia back in season 6, then that would change everything. If the dementia storyline had never happened, I would like to think that Liz would have remained in Wentworth until the very final episode of season 8 part 2. But let's say during the bomb episode, a pregnant Boomer's life is in peril. And let's just say something happens, like, let's say a ceiling is about to collapse and is about to land on top of Boomer. Liz would then come along and push Boomer out of the way, but then the ceiling would land on top of Liz, crushing her. Boomer would be distraught, she'd scream out, "No, no, Liz," and Liz would be on the ground, not looking great. Boomer would hold Liz's hand, begging for Liz not to leave her, but Liz knows that there is literally no hope for her at this stage, and she says her goodbyes to Boomer before passing away with Boomer holding her hand. That would be just as tragic as the original death scene that we got in season 7. I would then like to think that during the final scenes of season 8 part 2, when the survivors are out in the yard in the night time, and then Ali is pulled from the rubble and she has the mobile phone for Rita and Ruby, I'd like to think that Boomer would then have the final line on the show when she tells everyone that she's going to name her baby after Liz. I mean, that would have made a sweet yet tragic ending during the final episode. Maybe it would have made it a bit more memorable. Who knows? We can all rewrite history in hindsight, and this is just a little, you know, a little idea of what could have happened, you know, instead. I mean, we can picture it in our heads at least. Also, this would have meant that Boomer would never have got that murder or manslaughter charge, and it would have meant that she would have been getting her parole after Liz saved her life. And that was my Liz Birdsworth ranking. So guys, what did you think of today's video? Do you agree with some of my points in the video, or do you think that I missed something out? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment box below. Right then guys, well, thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. I will be back next week with another character ranking special, and in the meantime there will be some prisoner cell blockade reviews on the weekend to keep you entertained, so make sure that you smash that subscribe button and have a fantastic weekend guys. See you very soon.